Welcome to Highly Sensitive Healing. I'm Lauren LaSalle, a former therapist, a highly sensitive person, and a mentor for HSPs. For too long, I felt like there was something wrong with me. I felt everything deeply, sounds, emotions, other people's moods, and I learned pretty early on just to push through, to quiet my intuition, and to try to keep up with what everyone else was doing and what society expected of me. But the truth is, my sensitivity was never the problem. I just didn't have the language, support, or tools to understand it. This podcast was created for highly sensitive people who are tired of trying to toughen up or fix themselves and are ready to heal in a way that honors how they're wired. Here, we talk about nervous system regulation, unhelpful thought patterns, emotional overwhelm, and self-trust through a gentle, compassionate lens. You don't need to become someone new to feel better. You don't need to push harder or try more. You get to learn how to care for yourself in ways that actually work for you. If you've ever felt overwhelmed, misunderstood, or like you were carrying too much, this space is for you. My hope is that each episode helps you feel a little less alone and a little more at home in yourself. So, wherever you're listening from, welcome. Take a breath, settle in, and let's begin. Hello, we are back. I am so excited to be back. I sincerely have missed recording this podcast so much, but I definitely also needed a break from it. So I had a great break, very busy with the baby. He's just turning 6 months old. I can't even believe it. And my daughter just turned 3.5. Time is flying. And here we are again. It's February. We are back, and now we are highly sensitive healing. So I sort of feel like I'm starting over, but it also feels like a continuation, which I guess both are true. So it makes sense that it feels that way. So welcome back. If you are an old listener, if you've been here before, thank you for returning with me on this rebrand of the podcast. And if you are a new listener, welcome. I am so happy to have you here. I hope you get so much out of this podcast. And if you do, I would love to hear from you, whether you are DMing me on Instagram, sending me an email, letting me know in a review of the podcast. It is also helpful for me to know that this is actually helping people and that what I'm putting out there for you is full of value, because that is fully what I intend it to be. And I'm extra excited because I'm recording this from what feels like my new office, but it's actually the office I've had for a while now. I just within the past few days rearranged almost every single piece of furniture in here, did a major clean out. This place was like the dumping room and it was stressing me out. I did not like being in here at all. And so I was like, something has to change. I need to be in there more often to record the podcast. And I need a space that's mine, not just in my bedroom. I don't want to just hang out in my bedroom because our bedroom is not that big anyway. So we just like have a bed and dressers. So I managed to move all the furniture around in my office, fit a nice chair in here. And now I have a little hangout space in here. It's very floral. There are lots of flowers. I'm going to get some fairy lights to go around the top that looks like it's on a vine. I am so excited. And it already feels like a huge energy shift in here, which is really helping me out. So that's a little update from what's going on over here. I didn't really mean to start it out like that, but here we go. Also, I need to warn you that you might hear some family noise going on. My family is, I think, in the kitchen just a couple rooms away. May hear them. That's just the nature of how this goes. So I guess let's get into this episode. I don't really have a specific topic today because this is the first episode, the first real episode of Highly Sensitive Healing. So it's sort of an intro episode. I want to let you know who I am if you don't already know, and sort of what to expect from the podcast. What is this all about? How is this different than when it was the Highly Sensitive podcast? First, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. So I first learned that I was highly sensitive, I think in my mid-ish 20s, so a little over 10 years ago. And I found out because somebody just posted a link on Facebook. I don't even remember who it was, but it was about, I think, knowing if you're a highly sensitive person, something about being highly sensitive, and that caught my eye. And so I clicked on it. And it told me all about what that meant. And I was like, who wrote this article about me? It really felt like it was about me. And that was amazing because for so much of my life, I felt like my reactions to things were wrong and that I couldn't always do everything that everybody else could do. I always had low energy. I needed a lot of downtime, a lot of rest. I got drained very easily. I didn't really feel like I fit in with a lot of people. I was lucky. I did have quite a few good friends who I still have today, and I always felt like I fit in with them, and that was amazing. I really, really needed that, as we all do, especially when we're growing up. But I just couldn't understand why I didn't, I felt like I wasn't doing life right sometimes because I didn't necessarily want to do what everybody else was doing. I wanted to sort of do things my own way in the way that felt good to me, but it felt like I wasn't supposed to do that sometimes. And when it came to work, I kept working for about a year full time, and I would get burnt out after about a year. And I was like, why is this happening? I'm getting sick every single month. I can't go on this way. This just does not work for me. I'm done trying to push through and make this work. And some of that even happened after I found out I was highly sensitive, but I didn't really connect it because when I first learned about it, for the first several years, I was like, cool, yeah, that's me. That's amazing. I love that this, who I am is for a reason. If that makes sense, there's a reason that I have these reactions, responses, and why I feel like I can't do things the way that everybody else does. But I didn't really take it to heart and remember that all of the time. So I still was trying to push through things a little bit for a while until I was a therapist, and I had a coworker who started talking about that she was highly sensitive, and I was like, oh, that's right. I really want to start bringing this to my clients. And I was working with kids and their families at that time. And I think I need to remember this about myself too and learn a little bit more about what that means for me so that I can grow and heal and figure out what I need to do to feel good in my life, to have a life that I enjoy, that I don't feel like I need a vacation from all the time. Of course, now being a parent, sometimes that's just the nature of the job of being a parent, I guess. You feel like you need a vacation, but overall, I don't want to feel tired and exhausted all the time because I am doing things that don't work for me. And when I was able to do that, when I was able to learn about what I need to follow my gut, my intuition, and not quiet it anymore, not second guess it anymore, when I was able to stop myself from overthinking or just thinking through every single thing, worrying about things, and just learning how to calm my anxiety, calm my stress, set boundaries. So many things I did that got me to where I am now, where I have the life that I wanted, and it's honestly way, way better than I ever could have imagined. I never thought this version of me would exist. Sometimes I do, I go back and I visit little me or she still had hope, I think, for the future. She still had some hope, lots of hope. But then I go back and I visit teenage me, early 20s me, where I was severely depressed and severely anxious. And she never in a million years would have guessed that she would be this person now. And it is weird to think about because I do feel like there have been several versions of me since her, but we are still the same person. And part of my healing has been being able to accept her as a part of me and to let her know that everything's okay now. Everything's better than okay. Everything is amazing. And it's not always easy, but it's a million times better than I ever could have thought that life could be. And so that's why I wanted to sort of switch this podcast a little bit, because I realized that I didn't always, when I was trying to come up with a topic just sort of based around high sensitivity, it was getting a little difficult because everything has to do with being a parent for me now. And I didn't want it to be all about being a parent. I didn't want this podcast to go in that direction. And so I decided to just tentatively end it. But then I realized after a couple months off that sort of the common thread throughout my life, at least my most of my adult life, is healing. And so I can definitely speak to being a highly sensitive person who is healing. And so here we are, and that's what we're doing now. And so I know I mentioned that I was a therapist. So I was a therapist for a couple years. I got burnt out on that. And it was just too much for me to deal with other people's trauma that was very heavy. Even though I did learn to distance myself from it and not carry it with me, it was still a lot. Hearing all about those things and having a baby at the time. My daughter was a baby when I decided to go into coaching as my job and not do therapy. And there were other reasons that went into deciding not to be a therapist anymore. I could probably do a whole episode about that, but I'll just leave it at that for now. And I never planned on having my own business, but learning more about being a highly sensitive person, getting to be where I am now and the amount of healing I've done and going through what I did, I feel like I need to be there. My job, besides being a mom, which is what I've always wanted to do, is to be able to support other HSPs who are where I have been in the past and who want to learn how to deal with overstimulation and feeling guilty for needing downtime and feeling like they're too much or not enough, being a people pleaser, overthinking things, feeling like nobody understands you. I really feel like it is my meaning in life to be a person that they can come to and be supported and help them heal and help them connect. And so that's what I'm doing now, and I just love it so much. And I also feel like I'm here because I want everybody to understand that being highly sensitive is not a flaw. It is a nervous system trait. And the problem is not that we are sensitive. It's that we often don't have the support and the skills that we need to use our sensitivity to our advantage and to figure out what we actually need to change in our lives to feel happy and to have the life that we want. And so that is something that I love working on with clients. I aim to do through the podcast, and I know that has come through for so many people already in previous episodes, which I'm so happy about. So what we are going to talk about, this is my plan for the rebrand of the podcast. We are going to talk about things like learning to regulate your nervous system, because that is a game changer. When I was able to do that, that just makes you feel so much better just in itself, just being able to regulate your nervous system. Then you can layer things on top of that help you heal even more and become more of the person that you want to be. So I really would like to discuss that on this podcast. I also love to talk about changing unhelpful thoughts. We have to work with the mind and the body in order to make full change. because they are obviously related. They're both a part of us. And so we need to really target the body and the mind when we want to heal and make lasting change. So I love talking about shifting unhelpful thoughts. I want to talk about building self-trust. I want to talk about listening to your intuition, creating sustainable self-care. That is for an HSP, not just for the general person, because we need different self-care. I want to talk about setting boundaries, processing your emotions, healing old patterns, because we just run on autopilot a lot of the time. Even if we are present, sometimes we have these programs running in the background in our subconscious that dictate things that happen, how we respond to things, how we react. And sometimes we are not even aware that we are following old patterns, repeating old patterns. And that is also something I've worked on a lot myself, just in general, and especially becoming a mom. So that is something I love to talk about as well. I also want to make a note that this is all of this that I do, the podcast, coaching. This is not about trying to fix yourself, because you don't need to be fixed. You are amazing just the way you are right now. You don't need to become less sensitive. You just need to feel safer in yourself, in your body, in who you are. So all of this that I do is about up-leveling, about becoming the next version of yourself, if that's what you would like to do. And if you are here, I'm guessing that's something that you would like to do. So here is what you can expect from the setup of the podcast. I think we are going to try weekly episodes. We'll see how that goes, because my recording time is very, very limited. When my daughter was a baby, I could record with her on my lap because she was very quiet. My son is the chattiest baby around, so that is not happening. There's no way I can record if it's just the two of us at home. So I'm going to try to do weekly episodes. If I'm not, please forgive me. I am doing my best. I've already forgiven myself if the weekly episodes go out the window. So I hope you can forgive me as well. So most of these episodes, I think, will be solo episodes because, again, I have limited recording time. It is more difficult for me to schedule with guests to do live face-to-face recordings. So I am trying to figure out some ways to work around that. So we'll see how that works. I will have some guests that I will record with. It will just be, I think, a lot fewer guests than I have had previously. But again, that can change. I'm going to talk about practical tools. We're going to talk about mindset work, some somatic work, personal stories that I have, and I hope some personal stories that you can either send in or you can send via email or in a voice memo. I will put a link to that in the episode description. I do have a way that you can send in a voice message that I can play on the podcast. It can either be anonymous or you can leave your name. So I'm going to put that out right now, that if you would like to just send something in, it can be anything. It can just be saying, hey, I love your podcast. It can be saying, hey, I have this story I want to share. Hey, I have this tool that I want to pass on to your listeners. Whatever you want, send it in, and I will play it on an episode that makes sense to play it on. I might in the future also have some prompts that I will send out mostly to my email list and Instagram. I might mention them on here as well, where you can send in a voice memo or an email. So I can use that on the podcast to have more people's input and stories, because I really, really value having lots of voices, lots of stories on here so people can all feel connected and relate to each other and validated. And I will very likely have shorter episodes than I have in the past because time, and I really like to just get to the point sometimes when I'm, especially now with limited time, limited brain power, limited energy. I really will just get to the point, give you a little nugget, and send you on your way. It will still be full of value and it will still be very helpful, but it may be shorter. I think I'm also going to have some segments on here, which I'm not starting today. I'll probably have those a few episodes in. I'm going to work on them. But we may have a recurring segment or two, which I'm excited about. We'll add a little structure to the podcast. If you have any ideas, let me know. But I do have some ideas myself. I also, because I feel like I'm just sort of rambling on and telling you, like, I don't know how interesting this is. So I'm just going to tell you, I have all of the links to support the podcast, join my email list, check out my website, connect with me, all of those things in the episode description. I have them in there every episode if you ever want to connect or join my email list. All right, well, I think that's it. I am starting to lose my voice, and I think I've covered everything that I was planning on covering in this episode. We do have a guest episode coming up soon that I am very excited about. And I do have a podcast mini course that I think is 5 episodes. And thank you so much for being here or coming back. Like I said, so happy to be back. I'm going to stop talking now and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening to Highly Sensitive Healing. You can help support the podcast by taking a minute to rate and review it, share your favorite episode with a friend, or become a subscriber on Patreon. Visit laurenlasalle.com for information about my mentorship programs, join my email list to stay up to date with how I can support you, as well as exclusive email list perks, and connect with me on Instagram at I am Lauren LaSalle. Happy healing.